The door wasn't locked the last time I was here. We decided that if we actually want to grow, we have to actually do it. Now I own 2 of the worst houses in this county. We have a shop that we can use for a little bit. In about a month, this is all gonna be torn down and we're gonna build our own shop. On this episode of American Detour, we rebuild a small block and we bought our own garage. If you've been here since the early days of American Detour, you'll remember that me and Luke restored my 1994 Chevy C1500. And I've had this 350 TBI motor sitting around for almost a year, probably a year and a half now. And I planned on rebuilding it, putting it in my truck, but I haven't gotten around to it for some reason. But I finally decided to get around to it. I sprayed WD-40 in the cylinders, but it had ran out, and so they're all rusty, so I need to re-hone it with a little 3-fingered hone. If you've never done a little hone job on your motor, this is a quick tutorial on how to do that. So first thing you need to do is literally just soak down your cylinder, and I mean soak it nice and good, just like that. All right, grab your little honey boy quickly. Try to put it in while I hold the camera. Don't make any jokes. Slowly, right up and down the cylinder. You really should clean out the cylinder first a little bit before you go in here with the hone, but I mean, not too worried about it. So that's what this first cylinder looked like before. All that grimy, crappy rust. Now we're gonna clean her out here. Boom, look at that. Look how freaking clean that is. I mean, that does a great job. Not gonna lie, that was a rented tool from AutoZone that I didn't bring back. I got the entire passenger side done on the motor. There's a little bit of rust kind of towards the top. That's because this motor has a small amount of ring ridge. Like literally hardly anything. Maybe like a couple of thousandths. That's not gonna hurt anything. It's just a tiny amount. I don't want to have this motor machined. I don't want to pay that kind of money. This will be just fine. So I've got all the cylinders bored out, which we saw last. And then I took degreaser and degreased the whole motor. This used to be absolutely freaking caked in here. And then I went to the old local AutoZone and got some professional grade. I don't know if this is supposed to be like Chevy orange or what color this is. I just thought red looked really good. It kind of matches my stripes. Do not float your valves in a freaking V8. A pushrod V8, unless it's an LS, is not made to rev real high. Unless you have overhead cams or something. Don't rev it so high. That's what happens. That valve hit that about 3 or 4 times. Now, yes, I know it's not in the valve relief. It's probably because something broke because they're floating the valves. Ooh, I should probably put assembly lube on it. Yeah. That'd be smart, actually. This lube is literally from the 90s. I'm not gonna lie, not sure if this is the right way to do it, but this is what we're gonna do. Most of these people on here are just keyboard warriors. They're like, oh, that's not the right way to do it. Like that kid, all right, that kid who freaking was like, I can do the same thing in my 4.3 V6. Cool freaking beans, dude. Cool beans. Every car's a race car if you know how to drive it. All right, cam, motor, that's all you need to know. People who do this, like when the motor's still in the truck or car.
Props to you.
Yeah, props to you. This feels weird. Boom. There we go. Now our cam is in there. All right, friends, so I just ordered my main bearings and piston rings for the motor. And the other night, me and Lucy were down there, and we went ahead and put in the old lifters and the old cam and all that good stuff. Also the dog bones that hold the lifters like straight and whatnot. And then a hold down plate that'll keep the dog bones from falling out of place. We cleaned up all that stuff because if we're gonna build a motor, we might as well make it clean and all that good stuff. But we have to put the piston rings into the cylinders, being that we haven't had it machined or anything. We don't know for sure that it's round. And we need to put it in there and make sure that the end gap on there is correct. It's not all goofed up and whatnot, because the last thing we want to do is put those in there and have a ton of blow by and not great compression. And the oil ring not be able to clean off the skirt correctly. So we just got our main bearings for the motor, and they're just standard. We don't need to oversize or anything like that. What we're gonna do to make sure they have the right bearing clearances is the other thing called a plastic gauge. What you do is after you set in all your bearings and whatnot, you put it within the bearings, you bolt everything down, torque it and everything, and then when you pull it all apart, it'll show the clearance you have between the bearing and the crankshaft itself. So now we're gonna put our other main main bearings on our caps. But after we get those on there, then we put our crank on, as long as she runs. This thing's not gonna make a whole freaking butt ton of power. Everyone at home, you know you're building your motors. I know you're saying you make 500 horsepower. Shut up, you know you make like 260. You know that's how it be though. We're gonna put all this together, all of it, put it on there, and we're gonna show you how to do it. Actually, we won't, because we don't know how to do it. We're gonna watch a YouTube video and then translate it to you.
It is used to measure clearances between things in order to measure clearances.
Yeah, and don't go around your buddies saying, "Oh, build not bought." Shut up, this is store-bought stuff.
See, we act like we're professionals, but really half the time we're looking at YouTube videos.
Literally.
So this is just us doing our thing.
This is not built, not bought. This is literally me taking apart a motor, power washing it, painting it, and then being like, "Ooh, look at my sick freaking 300 horsepower." Actually, like 150. That's good. I really like tea. I really like Lipton tea. Okay, this is probably totally the wrong way to handle this. So, Frank, we gotta put the freaking plastic gauge on there. Oh, right there. Oh, so carefully. Oh, so carefully. What? The heck? Oh. No, what the? That freaking main bearing in the back is hidden. What the? I swear to God.
There it is.
There it is. We gotta tear this thing all apart again just to see if my clearances are right. And who knows if those plastic things actually stayed in there. There's a good chance it just fell in the motor and I just didn't notice. How is that supposed to work?
Oh, son of a bitch, Hunter, look.
How are we supposed to use that? I don't get it. I don't understand. So we finally figured out how it works. I thought we had to measure like the actual height of the plastic gauge. But what you do is, on here it's got like these little, I don't know, little marks that show how big it should be. This is supposed to be between 0.002 and 0.0025. If you look, it is right on the money. Like, it is perfect. And then we put everything all back together after that. All right, we put the crankshaft back in. Everything's torqued down. It's all good to go. I got my rear main seal on. I got my timing chain on. I wish I would have had my pistons in today, but apparently that wasn't in the plans because yeah, they gave me the wrong piston rings. But anyway, that's all together now. I want to get Holley Sniper EFI, but that all depends on what money I have when I'm ready for that. If I have the money, I'll get it. If not that big of a deal, because I want something that's reliable to drive every day. So I'm gonna get just a regular single plane manifold, carburetor 4-barrel manifold, and put it on here. I'm gonna put a air fuel ratio gauge in this truck so I can tune the carburetor correctly to the motor and all that good stuff, because if you don't have an air fuel ratio, you're just shooting the moon. So depending on what money I have at the time, that'll dictate if I'm getting a carburetor or a Holley Sniper EFI system. All right, there's information we've been hiding from you guys for about a week or so here. After seeing Cletus McFarland buy the Freedom Factory, we decided that, sorry about the traffic. We decided that if we actually want to grow and do anything and get bigger, we have to actually do it. We have to actually make the step. So my grandpa had about 1.5 acres here that he's not using, that has 2 crappy houses on it. And he gave it to me because it's worthless ground. Now I own 2 of the worst houses in this county, and we have a shop that we can use for a little bit. It's just for a little bit, and then within about a month, this is all gonna be torn down, and we're gonna build our own shop. But that is what we need to actually expand. So we're gonna show you our new garage. It's actually smaller than an old one, but it has more room because there's not 3 freaking cars sitting in it. We'll show you, and we gotta clean it up too, so it's gonna be a whole mess. There's stuff in here from the 70s. Well, let's go. Okay, this is the shop. It's pretty small. I think it's just barely enough room to fit my truck in here. We'll find out after we get all this crap cleaned out of here. There's like no siding. It's super bare bones. This has been here since actually this house is from the 1800s. Here's like an old pump room we're gonna tear down. There's all kinds of old motor parts up there. There's like a 409 tri-power up there. This is like an old speed shop. My grandpa used to be a painter, and he has paint left over from a 1967 Dodge Charger he painted in the early 70s to late 60s, all sitting up here and everything. These beans, I don't know why they're here. They're in the second floor. They're from 1997. Honestly, some of them still look fine. All right, most of the electric in here is really shoddy. These windows are trash. These are new windows for some reason. There's holes in the ceiling. But you know what? It's a place we can call our own for now until we get our new shop built. And eventually this is all going to be cleaned out. My grandpa's coming here and go through and take the stuff that he wants. And then after that, everything else is dumped out of here. Yeah, new windows work. I guess it's time to start cleaning. Start making it even cleaner. But pretty much all we've done so far is sweep the floors and clean up a few odds and ends. Not a whole lot, really. I'm going to start getting all this crap out of here, cleaned up and out of the way, and we should be good to go.
Freaking through gravel in here.
It is moving day, boys and girls. I am getting my tool cart and putting in some like disposable tools, not disposable tools, but like secondhand tools, really crappy ones, because I don't want my good stuff up there yet because it's not really that nice. People can maybe get in there. But I'm moving all my stuff, most of my stuff up there so I can start working up there and actually working out of it and making stuff happen. I gotta rebuild my carburetor for my truck motor up there, do a few stuff, so let's get cracking on this. If you hear a grinding noise, that's my fan hitting my fan shroud. Oh yeah. I need to fix that. Come on, sweetheart. There you go. Good girl. Alright. So it's not super organized yet, but I have 1/4 inch drive sockets, 3/8 drive sockets, my 1/4 and 1/2 inch, or 3/8 inch ratchets, my favorites. Quite a few extensions in here. I've got my good screwdrivers, a pick set, my electrical tools, a hammer, my zip ties, a few knives, some butt connectors. And this one, just some odds and ends, kind of like little wrenches. I got a mess of different kind of wrenches here. They're mostly all shorties. My favorite ratcheting wrench set, some cleaning supplies, some regular hand tools, things like that. There's a good chance this thing is about to fall off the back of my truck right now. There she is. Alright, thank you for watching this episode of American Detour. It's kind of special to us, even though this is kind of like our home shop now. It's only going to be standing for about another 3 months, and then it's getting freaking bulldozed down, and we're getting our actual shop built. It's going to be, right now I'm thinking 30 by 66 by 12 with two 60-foot doors on the front, 60-foot door on the side, a lift on one side.
A lot bigger than that.
A lot bigger than that. This garage is, my truck can hardly fit through there. I don't even know if it will with the roof. If you'd be so kind, like, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. Or follow us on Instagram, American_Detour. I am Hunter_Maggart94, I think.
JLOC20.
Follow us on there if you want to see whatever we do besides this.
Yeah.
Preach!